welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name's Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. We're in San Jose, California, meeting with companies in the area that are leaders in the tech and telecom space. And on our program at the moment is Ellis Reid. He is with Intune Networks, and he's the Director of Product Marketing and Business Development. Ellis, welcome to the show.
Great, thanks, Rich. It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm super happy to get a chance to talk to you guys.
Likewise. So why don't we start off at the top by just an overview of what your company's doing.
Happy to do. So Intune Networks is, we like to say, we're the future of where the networks are going to go. We're a company that produces a converged optical and switching product. And I mean, networks really haven't changed in 20 years. Right? It's been a little bit more of the same. You've been slowly evolving. We actually see that by actually going to an all optical fabric, converging layers, 0, 1, and 2 into a single product, that this is really the way the networks need to go. And we think Intune Networks is uniquely positioned to do that.
So in terms of the types of pain you take away for your customers, what are the pains you're removing?
Well, I think if you take a look at it, by actually removing the fact that you have to have Ethernet switches and WDM boxes, ROADMs sitting there, converging that into a single product, well, one, you save space, you save power, and it simplifies the network greatly. So now what you're looking at is a single converged optical control plane. So from one end to the other, I can actually control my bandwidth, I can bring it up, I can move it down, and I'm not actually having to worry about two sets of equipment across there and managing it. So that's part of it. The other part is the pain. Certainly as you start to build up these networks, the power requirements go up, the space goes up. We address that. And I think we actually enable some really new services. Right? Because of the fact we actually are using fast tunable lasers to switch the data, so we're all optical. So now it allows us to, if you had a SONET network or SDH as the case may be, next to a new Ethernet network, I can run them both over the same converged solution. That simplifies matters. Our system's plug and play, and what we've done, which is really unique for us, is we've actually embedded basically an XML server inside of each one of the nodes sitting on our ring. So that means I can actually now control my network using web-based commands. So now I've got a network that operates like the web, and the web is so far ahead of where carrier networks are today. Right? If you take a look at what's going on inside of data centers where they're virtualizing servers, where we actually allow you to virtualize your network. And we allow you to do it with the simplest ways possible, which is really web-based software.
But there's a language, right, that you've got to...
Absolutely.
You know the language, or you just use XML to...
Absolutely.
And then is there also the ability to get XML feed out to see what's happening in the network?
Oh, absolutely.
Reporting if necessary. And I know there's lots of ways to get reporting data, but I just...
Well, that's actually one of the really neat things about it is our work actually came out of... So the company was founded by a couple of gentlemen who got their PhDs at University College Dublin and doing work in fast tunable lasers. So coming out of there, they actually, one of the things they learned as we were going into telecom was really exploding the backplane. So if you actually take a look at one of our rings, it's actually an exploded fiber backplane. This is stuff that came out of some work they did for DARPA going back. And so what you're actually looking at is, so a single XML command can not only give you the health of a single node, but then give you the health of a sole ring. Right? So yes, it makes it a lot simpler now to actually give an XML command and pull back a file which will give you the entire health of your ring, not just a single instance of a node sitting on a ring.
So now how do you look at the competitive situation since you're kind of aggregating a bunch of products that are made by different companies within a data center or a carrier's network?
Well, look, so there's really no one else who's doing anything like what we do today. I mean, most recently Huawei announced, doing an optical burst switch, which is similar to what we do. But they're in beta, so there's really no other commercial product like ours. So we've got a carrier class, we call it optical packet switch and transport. And a lot of people were familiar with a similar technology, optical burst switching. But because of what we do, we're different from everyone else, but we really believe that the network has to transform. Right? The network has to be able to provide from anywhere to anywhere connectivity. The network has to be able to become flexible. You can't plan the network the way you used to. Right? I'm old enough to know that I used to carry Erlang tables, and I could figure out how to actually, communicate to figure out, okay, well, this switch needs to have this, here's what I need to put for trunks. You can't do that anymore, right? You're carrying an iPad.
I am.
And you can walk anywhere around, and the bandwidth you're carrying through there as you're watching your video goes from cell site to cell site to cell site to node to node to node. And, bottom line is at the end of the day, as a carrier can't figure out, where Rich is going to be and where that bandwidth is going to be. Multiply that by a few million, and you got a problem you've got to address.
So you're seeing the consolidation of these boxes as just a natural, I guess, evolution of networks, and that's really what we've seen, right?
Absolutely.
We used to
Absolutely.
CSU, DSU units being separate from other units and all kind of coming together inside of routers and becoming, right, and firewalls were separate, and now if you
That's
look
all
at
part of the.
your home network especially, I mean, that's where you see all this stuff coming together. You've got wireless, you've got firewall, you've got router, you've got, right, switch.
Actually, I'm glad you said that, because at the end of the day, if you're doing an optical network, the one thing you can't get rid of is the lasers. And that's really where we brought it down to, is we take it, we transmit it into, transform it into light, and the lasers have to be there. So that really is where networks are ultimately going to go, where it's an all optical switch, and that's what we do, and I think that's where networks are going to have to go to get the flexibility they need to handle the services that are coming up. And if you just look at the announcement, right, so Facebook's working with Skype, so you know what that means. It's just going to mean tremendous amounts of additional video traffic coming from everywhere. Well, who's going to pay for that? How are you going to provision your networks to support that? You can't provision a network to go, well, here's my peak traffic, and I'm going to provision it to meet my peak traffic. It just won't work. And that's what traditional networks would have to do. Either they're going to have to police the network and upset customers, or they're going to have to do it uneconomically. We allow you to do sub-lambda multiplexing, so you can use that. You can put best efforts traffic in there, so you can smooth out the peaks and do this all optically, and really allow you to build a network that's much more cost effective and actually simpler to manage.
Great, lots of benefits.
Yeah, we think so. And we're seeing that we've gotten a lot of good receptivity from some tier 1 carriers. There were many of them that were out there that were, I can give you presentations from them, and you'll go, wait a second, this looks like an Intune presentation, and it works for us.
So what's next?
Well, what's next is, so we've been working in Ireland. We've built the Exemplar network, and we've been demonstrating that. Phase 2 of that starting now, where they're actually taking that to a live, working with the carrier to take that live. We've been working with Telefonica and a thing called the Mains program, right? So that's going forward. So the next thing for us is, first off, is applications with some tier 1 carriers to actually show that our equipment works in the network, and that it's ready to move forward.
Great, thanks for being on the program. This was great.
Rich, it's been my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks, Ellis. Great job.